The Washington Monument stands tall against a blood-red sunset. Fireworks burst in the distance, their echoes rippling across the National Mall like distant artillery. 4th of July, 2024. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall stretches black and solemn. Lieutenant Colonel William Harrison, 42, in formal military uniform, traces a name etched in the polished black granite. "I'm home, Dad." He pulls out a worn photograph from his pocket. A 6-year-old boy with a wide smile, holding up a small wooden carving. A tear falls onto the photo. While America celebrates freedom, Lieutenant Colonel William Harrison returns after 3 years on a classified mission. 3 years without a video call. 3 years without a real letter home. 3 years of unnamed deaths and secrets he cannot share. William's pickup truck moves through suburban streets where families gather. American flags wave from porches. A firework explodes overhead, and he flinches involuntarily. Ryan's 9 now. I wonder if he even remembers me. The truck pulls up to a familiar 2-story house. The windows are dark, no welcoming lights. What William finds instead will shatter the heart of a soldier who's faced death 100 times over. On the front porch steps, huddled against the evening chill, sleeps a small boy. Ryan Harrison, thin frame shivering in a light jacket. Clutched in his small hand is a wooden object. William kneels, tears welling as he recognizes the wooden key he carved for his son, the last gift before he left. Ryan stirs, eyes fluttering open. Recognition dawns slowly. "Dad, I kept it. Like you said, you kept your promise." That wooden key doesn't just unlock a family's door. It unlocks a secret that could shake America to its core. And William will soon face a choice no one should have to make, between loyalty to his country and the heart of a father. Arlington National Cemetery stretches in perfect rows of white markers. The sun has just begun to rise. William stands at attention before his father's grave, still in his dress uniform from the night before. His phone buzzes, a text message. "Secure line only. Stay dark." William deletes it immediately. A groundskeeper approaches, an elderly man with a limp. "Beautiful morning to visit your father, Colonel Harrison." William's posture shifts subtly. "Do I know you, sir?" "Frank Coleman, served with your dad in '68. Saw you at the wall last night." He extends a weathered hand. "Welcome home, son." "Thank you, sir." "Your dad saved my life in Quai San. Best damn Marine I ever knew." Frank gestures to his leg. "Got this as a souvenir that day. How's that boy of yours?" William's expression darkens. "Found him sleeping outside our house last night. Wife's got a new situation." Frank nods. "Happens to too many who serve." He hands William a business card. "I run Coleman's auto shop on Maple Street. Need work while you figure things out. Come see me." William watches Frank limp away, pocketing the card. Ryan's room in William's small apartment is sparse but carefully prepared. Military corners on the freshly made bed. William watches from the doorway as his son sleeps. The apartment is a temporary rental. Bare walls, minimal furniture, tactical backpack in one corner. The only personal touch is a framed photo of William in combat gear with his unit and a picture of him holding infant Ryan. William makes coffee. His movements are precise, economical. He opens a notebook, making neat lists. Supplies needed, legal steps, school enrollment, a soldier's approach to a father's mission. Ryan appears in the doorway, pajamas too big for his thin frame. "Morning, buddy." "I thought maybe I dreamed you." William kneels to Ryan's level. "Not a dream. I'm home for good." Ryan's eyes study William's face. "That's what Mom said about Mr. Crane, that he'd be around for good." William maintains his composure. "Well, I keep my promises. You hungry? I can make pancakes." Ryan approaches cautiously. "Mom doesn't make breakfast anymore. Mr. Crane says it's a waste of time." William's hand tightens on the spatula. "Well, in this house, breakfast is important. Military tradition." A small smile appears on Ryan's face. "Like a mission?" "Exactly. Operation Pancake." William flips one with expert precision, earning a laugh from Ryan. As they eat, William asks careful questions. "How's school? Friends? The house?" "School's okay. I don't have many friends. They think I'm weird because I draw a lot." Ryan hesitates. "The house is different now. Mr. Crane has rules." What kind of rules? Don't touch his stuff. Don't make noise when he's working. Don't go in the basement anymore. Ryan pushes his food around. He makes Mom different too. Different how? She doesn't smile. She goes away a lot with him. She tells me to be a big boy and take care of myself. Ryan looks up. She made me call him Uncle Victor, but I don't want to. When Ryan pulls out the wooden key, the craftsmanship is simple but beautiful. A traditional key shape with home carved into the handle. You made this for me. You said as long as I had it, I could always find my way home. William's composure cracks, emotion flooding his eyes. That's right. I tried using it on our door last night. It didn't work. Some locks take time, Ryan, but I promise you, we'll find our way home together. Yeah. Westside Elementary School buzzes with morning activity. William's truck pulls into the drop-off lane. Inside, Ryan clutches his backpack nervously. What if Mom comes? I've called the school. They know I'm back and that I'm picking you up today. William produces a small flip phone. This is for emergencies. My number is the only one in it. Any problems? You call. Ryan takes the phone, eyes wide. Mom says I'm too young for a phone. It's not a toy, it's a tactical communication device. Very important mission equipment. As Ryan's about to exit, a sleek black SUV pulls up. Ryan freezes. That's Mr. Crane's car. A tall man in an expensive suit emerges, scanning the area with calculated precision. Victor Crane, mid-40s, projecting wealth and authority. There's something familiar about his movements. Ryan, go on in. I'll be watching until you're inside. Ryan hugs William before darting toward the school, taking a path to avoid Victor's line of sight. Victor remains by his vehicle, typing on his phone. He looks up, scanning the parking lot. His eyes pass over William's truck without recognition. There's something cold and mechanical in that gaze. William notes a slight military cadence to Victor's walk. Unconscious, but unmistakable. Margaret Maggie, Sullivan's law office, is modest but professional. Degrees and certifications line the walls, alongside photos of Maggie with military families. Maggie herself, 65, has the sharp eyes of a former prosecutor. William sits across from her, service record and custody documents spread between them. 3 years with minimal contact makes for a complicated custody situation. William maintains perfect posture. My deployment was classified. Limited communication protocols. Maggie studies him over reading glasses. The courts may not understand that. She holds up a photograph of a young Marine. My son, David, Afghanistan, 2010. I'm sorry for your loss, ma'am. He's why I help military families now. Tell me about Ryan. What did you find when you returned? William recounts finding Ryan on the porch, the boy's statements about being left alone. Maggie takes detailed notes. This Victor Crane, what do you know about him? Businessman, wealthy. Been with my wife about 2 years. Ryan seems afraid of him. We'll need evidence of neglect, documentation, witnesses, school records showing changes in behavior. What about your housing and employment situation? Temporary apartment for now, job prospect at an auto shop. Maggie sighs. Courts favor stability. We need to show you can provide that. William leans forward. With all due respect, I found my son sleeping outside because no one was home. Stability is already in question. Maggie allows a small smile. Good point, Colonel. I'll take your case. Coleman's auto shop sits on the edge of town. Classic cars in various states of repair fill the lot. Frank Coleman looks up from under the hood of a '67 Mustang as William approaches. Knew you'd show up. Military men are predictable that way. Hoping that job offer still stands, sir. Drop the sir, son. I work for a living. Frank gestures around. What do you know about engines? Basic maintenance and field repairs can strip and reassemble most military vehicles blindfolded. Civilian cars are different, but the principles are the same. Pay's not great, but it's honest work. Frank tosses William a set of keys. Office in back has an extra bedroom. Previous mechanic lived there. It's yours if you want it. William catches the keys, surprised. That's generous? Not generous, practical. Early shifts mean you can be done when your boy gets out of school. As they walk through the garage, William notices photographs on the wall. Frank with various military personnel across decades. One catches his eye, a younger Frank in Vietnam-era jungle fatigues standing beside William's father. Their unit patches identify them as Force Recon. You were Force Recon? My father never mentioned that. Frank's expression clouds. Some missions don't make it into the stories we tell after. Westside Elementary School buzzes with afternoon activity. William waits in his truck, scanning for Ryan. He spots him being approached by a woman in designer sunglasses. Emily Parker, elegant and poised. His wife. William watches their interaction. Emily seems to be questioning Ryan intensely. The boy shakes his head repeatedly. Emily looks around, searching. William steps out, making himself visible. Emily freezes when she spots him. Ryan breaks away and runs toward William. Mom wants to know where I'm staying. She seemed really mad. It's okay. Get in the truck. I'll talk to your mom. William approaches Emily. 3 years of absence stretch between them. William, her voice is controlled. Emily, you could have called to say you were back. Would you have answered? Emily adjusts her designer handbag nervously. Things have changed. I noticed, including our son sleeping on the porch because no one was home. Emily flinches. It was a misunderstanding. Victor and I had an important dinner. There was no sitter, Emily. Ryan told me he's often alone. A sleek black SUV pulls into the parking lot. Victor emerges, moving toward them with purpose. Emily tenses visibly. Please, William, not here. Victor reaches them, standing possessively close to Emily. He offers William a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. You must be the husband. Back from the dead, so to speak. William studies the man carefully. There's something oddly familiar about him. Lieutenant Colonel William Harrison. Victor's eyes narrow slightly at the rank. Victor Crane, I've been taking care of your family while you were away. The way he emphasizes away carries a subtle mockery. I appreciate your concern, but I'm home now. Victor places an arm around Emily's waist. Home, I understand you're staying in some rental apartment, hardly stable for a child. William's jaw tightens. Better than a locked house with no one answering the door. Victor's smile turns cold. Temporary misunderstanding. One that won't be repeated. Emily looks torn, glancing toward Ryan in the truck. William, we should discuss custody arrangements properly, with lawyers. Already on it. Victor guides Emily toward his SUV. We'll have our attorney contact you. As they walk away, William notices how Emily moves, like a puppet on strings, her natural grace now mechanical. The apartment is quiet that evening. Ryan sits at the small table drawing instead of doing homework. William watches with concern. Everything okay with that math? Ryan shrugs. It's easy, just don't feel like doing it. William glances at the sketchbook. Ryan is drawing a human figure with two faces, one layered over the other. That's interesting. Who is it? Ryan hesitates. Mr. Crane. Sometimes he looks different. Different how? Like there's someone else inside him. Sometimes his voice changes too, and he does things. What kind of things? He practices shooting in the basement. Mom doesn't know. He made me promise not to tell. Ryan looks up anxiously. He said soldiers like you shoot people. That's why you went away. William chooses his words carefully. My job was to protect people, Ryan. Sometimes that means stopping bad people from hurting others. Did you kill anyone? The question hangs in the air. William sits beside his son. That's a complicated question. The truth is yes, but only when there was no other choice, and only to protect innocent people. Ryan processes this with surprising maturity. Mr. Crane says he protects people too, but I don't think he's telling the truth. Ryan, has Mr. Crane ever hurt you? Ryan shakes his head. Not really, he just watches me. Sometimes he asks weird questions. What kind of questions? About you, about what I remember from before you left. And he makes me do these tests. William's expression darkens. Tests? Like memory games, or he shows me pictures of people and asks if I've seen them before. Ryan fidgets, and sometimes he takes my blood, says it's for vitamins. He draws your blood? Does your mom know? Mom's the one who holds my hand during it. She says it's important for my health. Ryan meets William's eyes, but she cries afterward when she thinks I'm not looking. The weird thing is, Dad, Sometimes when I look at Mr. Crane, I think I've seen him before, like in one of your old military pictures. William retrieves a photo album. Would you recognize him if you saw him again? Ryan looks through the album, stopping at a group photo. William with his special operations unit. Ryan points to a soldier standing beside William, face partially shadowed. That guy stands like Mr. Crane, the way he holds his shoulders. William studies the photo. Marcus Crane, one of his closest teammates, killed in action 3 years ago. That's just a coincidence, buddy. That man was a friend of mine, but he died a long time ago. Later that night, after Ryan is asleep, William searches military records on his laptop. He finds the casualty report for Marcus Crane, KIA 3 years ago. He then searches for Victor Crane, finding business records, news articles, photos at charity events with Emily. According to all records, Victor Crane is a businessman with no military background. The apartment phone rings unexpectedly. William answers cautiously. Harrison. A distorted voice responds. Orpheus is awakening. Watch the boy. Trust no one. The line goes dead. William checks locks, draws blinds, retrieves a handgun from his duffel. A sound from Ryan's room draws his attention. William finds his son sitting up in bed, eyes wide with fear. Bad dream? Ryan nods. I saw Mom. She was trying to tell me something, but no words came out. And Mr. Crane was there, but his face kept changing. Dad? What's Orpheus? William freezes. What did you say? Orpheus? I heard it in my dream. Mom was saying it. William forces a reassuring smile. It's just a name from an old Greek myth, a musician who tried to rescue his wife from the underworld. Did he save her? William hesitates. No. He looked back when he wasn't supposed to and lost her forever. The name Orpheus was classified, a code name for a project so secret that only a handful of people knew of its existence, and his 9-year-old son had just spoken it in his sleep. Morning brings no answers. William drops Ryan at school, then drives to a coffee shop several blocks away. A man slides into the seat across from him. Colonel Richard Hayes, 50s, William's former commanding officer in civilian clothes. You're supposed to be maintaining low profile, Harrison. Difficult when my son is sleeping on the porch because his mother is out with a man who shouldn't exist. Hayes sighs. We've been monitoring the situation. Monitoring? My son is being drawn blood by a man claiming to be Victor Crane, a man who moves like Marcus Crane. Hayes glances around before leaning in. What exactly has Ryan told you? That Crane watches him, tests him, takes blood samples. William's eyes narrow. And last night he mentioned Orpheus in his sleep. Hayes pales visibly. That's not possible. I heard it with my own ears, so I'll ask once. What the hell is going on? Is Marcus alive? Marcus Crane died 3 years ago. I identified the body myself. Then who is Victor Crane? I can't discuss this here. Meet me tonight. The old boathouse at Westlake Park. 2200 hours. Hayes stands. And Harrison? Come alone. No Ryan. William finds a folded napkin left on the table. Your apartment is compromised. Electronic and visual surveillance. Trust no one. At Coleman's auto shop, William works on a Jeep. During lunch, he notices Frank making a phone call from his private office, his tone serious and military in precision. When Frank emerges, he catches William's curious glance. Problem? William shakes his head. No, sir. Told you to drop the sir. Frank tosses him a sandwich. Eat, you look like hell. Didn't sleep much. Never do, first night back from deployment. The silence gets to you. Frank sits across from William. Want to talk about what's really bothering you? My ex is with a man who seems familiar somehow, and my son is drawing pictures of him with 2 faces. 2 faces? Like there's someone else beneath the surface. William takes a bite. Ryan also mentioned that Crane practices shooting in the basement and takes blood samples from him. Blood samples? What for? Supposedly vitamins. But my son mentioned a word last night, a project name that should be classified. Orpheus. Frank's expression hardens, his posture straightening to military attention. Where did he hear that name? Claims it came to him in a dream about his mother. Frank stands abruptly. Finish your lunch, then I need you to pick up parts from the warehouse across town. He hands William keys. Take the shop truck. Might be good to be gone for a few hours. Is there something I should know, Frank? Not here. When you get back, we'll talk. But Harrison, his voice drops. If your boy mentions that name again or has unusual symptoms, headaches, nosebleeds, vivid dreams, you call me immediately. The warehouse is on the outskirts of town. As William collects parts, he notices a black SUV pull up outside. Two men in suits emerge, their movements synchronized, almost mechanical. William ducks behind a shelf, watching as they approach the counter. The attendant points toward where William is standing. William relocates to a different aisle. The men split up, searching with military efficiency. William spots an emergency exit. As he reaches it, one of the men rounds the corner. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison. The man's voice is flat, emotionless. His hand moves toward his jacket. William charges forward, driving his shoulder into the man's midsection. The man is surprisingly strong, his movements precise. He fights with military training, but there's something off, a mechanical quality. The second man appears, drawing a weapon. William kicks a heavy toolbox into his path, breaks away, and crashes through the emergency exit. William commandeers a delivery truck, leaving the confused driver standing on the loading dock. William checks mirrors constantly as he navigates back toward town. No immediate pursuit. He abandons the truck in a shopping center parking lot, walking to a public bus stop. At Ryan's school, William positions himself where he can watch without being immediately visible. Children stream out. William spots Ryan, then notices Emily approaching him first. William moves closer, staying just out of sight, trying to hear their conversation. Have to come home, Ryan. It's not safe with your father. Dad takes care of me. He makes breakfast and helps with homework. Emily glances around nervously. There are things you don't understand. Your father isn't. He might not be well after his deployment. He's fine, Mom. He doesn't leave me alone like you and Mr. Crane. Emily flinches. That was one time, Ryan. A mistake. It wasn't one time. Ryan's voice carries hurt beyond his years. And Mr. Crane scares me. Emily's composure cracks. Ryan, please, there are protocols, things I can't explain. Like the blood tests? Dad says they have to stop. Emily pales visibly. He knows about those? William approaches. Yes, I know, and they stop now. Emily stands quickly, positioning herself between William and Ryan. You don't understand what's at stake. I understand that my son is being used as a lab rat. That ends today. Emily hands William a blank business card with only an address and tomorrow's date, 10 o'clock a.m. Come alone, I'll explain everything. She turns to Ryan. I love you, sweetheart. Be good for your father. As they walk away, William notices Frank Coleman's vintage Mustang parked across from the school. The old man nods once, then pulls away. The apartment feels different when they return. Nothing visibly disturbed, but William's instincts scream that someone has been there. Start packing your things. We're moving to Mr. Coleman's place above the shop tonight. As William does a final check, he notices something on Ryan's drawing table, a sketch that wasn't there before. It shows a stylized Greek lyre. Beneath it, written in childish handwriting that isn't Ryan's, remember. They take the bus to Coleman's auto shop, arriving as Frank is closing up. Thought you might need a change of scenery. Place is all set up for you two. The living quarters above the shop are basic but comfortable. Ryan explores while William and Frank speak in low tones. Someone searched our apartment, and I was ambushed at the warehouse by two men who moved like what? Like soldiers without souls. William produces the drawing. This was left for Ryan to find. Frank studies the image, his expression grim. The Lyre of Orpheus. Frank leads William into his private office, locking the door and activating a signal jammer. What I'm about to tell you is still classified, but you and your boy are in danger, so to hell with protocols. Frank reveals a hidden safe, retrieving a folder stamped top secret. I wasn't just force recon with your father. We were part of a CIA Special Activities Unit. After Vietnam, I stayed with the agency while your dad went back to regular Marine Corps. He hands William documents from the 1970s, early experiments labeled Project Orpheus. It started as a post-hypnotic conditioning program. The idea was to create operatives who could be sleepers, living normal lives until activated for missions. William flips through the documentation. MK Ultra type stuff. Similar roots, different branches. Orpheus went beyond mind control. They wanted to create operatives who truly believed they were someone else. Complete identity overlay. Frank points to a photo of scientists with test subjects. They had limited success in the early days, but the program was supposedly shut down in the 80s. Supposedly? About 5 years ago, I heard rumors it had been revived with new technology, neural implants, genetic modifications, advanced conditioning. You think Ryan has these markers? That's why they're taking his blood? Frank nods grimly. And why they're watching him. The question is, who's running Orpheus now, and what does your wife have to do with it? A sound from the outer room draws their attention. They find Ryan standing in the living area, face pale, nose bleeding slightly. Dad? I heard a voice. In my head. William rushes to his son. What voice, buddy? It sounded like Mom, but different. She said... Ryan's eyes roll back, his small body going rigid before collapsing into William's arms. Ryan! Ryan, can you hear me? Frank is already on the phone. I'm calling my doctor, not the hospital. Ryan's lips move, forming words in a voice that sounds nothing like his own. Orpheus is awakening, the sleepers rise. Find me at the river's edge where music fails. Then the seizure stops. Ryan's eyes flutter open, confused and frightened. Dad, what happened? William exchanges a grim look with Frank. The Orpheus nightmare has only just begun. Frank's doctor arrives within minutes. Dr. Eleanor Winters, 70s, with confident bearing. She examines Ryan thoroughly. His vitals are stable now, pupillary response normal. She puts away her penlight. Has he experienced seizures before? William shakes his head. Never. Dr. Winters examines the puncture marks on Ryan's arm. Recent venipuncture. Multiple sites. Professional work. She looks up at William. Who's been drawing his blood? His mother's partner. Supposedly for vitamin deficiency. Dr. Winters' expression darkens. Without proper medical supervision? That's practicing medicine without a license at minimum. When she takes a small sample herself. I'll run this through my private lab. No records, nothing in the system. In the hallway, she speaks quietly to William. Frank told me some of what's happening. I've seen this before in the early days. The nosebleeds, seizures, episodes of dissociation. Classic signs of cognitive intrusion. Cognitive intrusion? What does that mean for my son? Someone is attempting to access or implant information in Ryan's mind. The seizure was his brain's way of fighting back. But how? When? Could be through the blood draws. Certain compounds can make the brain more receptive. Or during sleep. The subconscious is most vulnerable then. She places a hand on William's arm. Don't let him sleep alone tonight. And whatever you do, don't let him go back to that house or that man. After she leaves, William returns to find Ryan with Frank, drinking hot chocolate. How you feeling, buddy? Ryan shrugs. Weird. Like someone else was in my head for a minute. Just Mom's voice, but saying things Mom wouldn't say. Ryan looks up. Dad, what's happening to me? William sits beside his son. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I promise I'm going to find and I'm going to find out and I'm going to fix it. He places a hand on Ryan's shoulder. No more tests, no more blood draws. And tonight we stick together. Ryan pulls out the wooden key, clutching it like a talisman. Dad, there's something about this key. Sometimes it feels warm, like it's trying to tell me something. William examines the key more carefully. It appears as he remembers carving it, but he notices a tiny, almost microscopic etching at the base, a series of numbers and letters. When did these marks get here, Ryan? Ryan peers at the markings. I don't know. They were always there, I think. Mom said never to lose the key, that it was special. Frank examines the markings. Those look like map coordinates, followed by what could be a cipher key. A sudden pounding on the shop door interrupts them. Frank moves to the window. Black SUV, 2 men in suits. William's jaw tightens. The same ones from the warehouse, probably. Frank retrieves a shotgun. Take Ryan to the panic room. Behind the tool wall in my office. Code is your father's birthday. William moves quickly to Frank's office. The tool wall slides aside, revealing a small, fortified room with communications equipment and monitors showing camera feeds from around the property. Frank returns to the panic room after the men leave. They were looking for you and Ryan, said they were federal agents, but their IDs were fakes. William checks his watch. It's approaching 10 p.m. He should be leaving to meet Hayes at the boathouse. I need to make a meeting tonight. Someone who might have answers. Frank nods. I'll stay with the boy, but Harrison, be careful. If Orpheus is active again, trust no one, not even old commanding officers. William kneels before Ryan. I have to go out for a little while. Mr. Coleman will stay with you. Ryan clutches his father's sleeve. Don't go, Dad, please. I have to, buddy, to get answers that will help you. William gently pries Ryan's fingers loose. Keep your key close. I'll be back before you know it. Frank hands William a secure satellite phone. Untraceable. My direct line is the only number programmed. William slips out through a back exit using the shadows. The night is cold and clear, a half moon providing just enough light. The boathouse at Westlake Park is a 20-minute jog from Coleman's shop. William approaches cautiously, using trees for cover. The structure is dark, apparently deserted. He circles once, checking for surveillance or ambush. Finding none, he moves to the weathered door. Unlocked. Inside, the air is damp and smells of algae. Moonlight filters through grimy windows, illuminating the outline of small boats. William moves silently, senses hyper-alert. You came alone. Good. Hayes steps from behind a support column. I needed answers more than backup, William responds, maintaining distance. Hayes moves to a small table, clicking on a battery-powered lantern. What I'm about to tell you violates multiple security protocols, but given what's happening, you deserve to know. Hayes gestures to the chair opposite him. Sit, Harrison. William remains standing. I'll stand. Hayes sighs. Your son had an episode today. Seizure, nosebleed, speaking with a voice not his own. William stiffens. How could you possibly know that? Because it's happening to others too. Children with specific genetic markers. Hayes runs a hand over his face. Orpheus was never just about creating sleeper agents. That was the cover story. What was it really about? Control. Finding ways to access and direct human consciousness remotely. The ultimate surveillance and influence tool. And Ryan, what does my son have to do with this? Your son has a rare genetic variation, one that makes him resistant to outside influence, but it also gives him the ability to detect those who have been modified. Modified? You mean like Victor Crane? Hayes nods slowly. Victor Crane is what we call a sleeper, someone whose identity has been overlaid with another through advanced neurological programming. In his case, the base personality is indeed Marcus Crane. William feels the ground shifting beneath him. Marcus is alive? Inside this Victor person? In a manner of speaking, the original consciousness is suppressed but not destroyed. With the right trigger, it can resurface. Hayes leans forward. That's what's happening now. All across the country, sleepers are beginning to remember their true selves. The overlay programming is failing. No, and that's bad because many of them were programmed with mission parameters that are extreme. If they wake fully but only remember fragments of their true identity and their programmed mission, the results could be catastrophic. How many are there? Hundreds, placed in positions of influence throughout government, military, corporate America. Hayes looks grim. We're facing a potential silent coup if they activate simultaneously. Who's we? Who do you really work for, Hayes? A contingency group within the intelligence community. We were tasked with monitoring Orpheus after the official program was supposedly shut down. And Emily, what's her role in all this? Your wife was recruited for her genetics expertise. She helped develop the latest generation of the technology. He pauses. But she didn't know the full applications until it was too late. When she discovered the truth, she tried to sabotage the program from within. So she's a reluctant participant, a prisoner? More complicated. She made a deal to protect Ryan. His genetic profile makes him valuable. He can identify sleepers on sight. They've been using him to test the stability of various subjects. Using my son as a human sleeper detector. William's voice is dangerously calm. And the blood draws? Monitoring his genetic markers, trying to synthesize them to create a detection technology. So Victor, or Marcus, is a sleeper who's starting to wake up. What does he want with my son? We believe he's discovered that Ryan holds the key to fully waking up, to recovering his true self without the violent psychosis that has affected other awakening sleepers. William stops suddenly. The key, Ryan's wooden key. Hayes tenses visibly. What about it? It has coordinates and what looks like a cipher etched into it. Emily made sure Ryan always kept it with him. Hayes stands abruptly. We need that key, Harrison. It could contain the shutdown sequence for the entire Orpheus network. And what happens to the sleepers if the network shuts down? Most will revert to their base personalities with gaps in memory. Some won't survive the transition, including Marcus. Yes, his overlay is particularly extensive. And Ryan? What happens to him if I hand over this key? He'll be protected, placed in a secure facility where his abilities can be properly understood and utilized. William finishes coldly. You mean exploited? For national security, Harrison, the stakes couldn't be higher. William takes a step back. My son is not a lab rat or a tool. I'm taking him and we're disappearing until I figure out what's really going on. Hayes' expression hardens. That's not an option. Ryan is essential to containing this situation. He's 9 years old. He's the key to preventing a catastrophe. Hayes reaches inside his jacket. I'm sorry, Harrison. I hoped you would cooperate voluntarily. Hayes produces a phone, presses a single button. We need extraction. Subject is uncooperative. Almost immediately, the boathouse doors burst open. 4 men in tactical gear enter, weapons raised. William recognizes their movements, the same mechanical precision as the men from the warehouse. Sleepers, William realizes aloud. You're working with them. Hayes shakes his head. Controlling them, there's a difference. Last chance, Harrison. Tell us where the key is. William feigns defeat. It's at Coleman's auto shop, hidden in the office. Hayes gestures to 2 of the sleepers. Retrieve it. To William, if you're lying. I want my son safe. That's all I've ever wanted. William waits until Hayes turns slightly to check his phone. Then he moves. In one fluid motion, William flips the heavy wooden table upward, sending it crashing into the 2 sleepers. Their reactions are too slow, programmed rather than instinctive. William tackles Hayes, driving him backward into a stack of canoes. Hayes is military trained but older, slower. William subdues him quickly. The sleepers are recovering. William grabs the lantern and hurls it into a pile of old tarps. The dry material catches immediately, creating a wall of fire between William and his attackers. William escapes through a side door, sprinting along the lakeshore. Behind him, the boathouse is engulfed in flames. William doesn't slow until he's a half-mile away. He pulls out the satellite phone Frank gave him. They're coming for the key. Get Ryan out now. Frank's voice is calm but urgent. Already moving. Rendezvous point B. 30 minutes. William changes direction, heading away from both Coleman's shop and his apartment. Rendezvous point B. He has no idea what that means, but he trusts Frank. As he moves through the night, William's mind races with revelations. Marcus alive inside Victor Crane. Emily trying to protect their son while appearing to betray him. A network of programmed sleepers positioned throughout society, beginning to wake up. And at the center of it all, his 9-year-old son, holding a wooden key that might contain the secret to shutting it all down. The town he once called home now feels like enemy territory. He can trust no one. Not his former commanding officer, not even his wife. Only Frank Coleman, his father's old war buddy, and a boy with a wooden key. Rendezvous Point B is an abandoned ranger station deep in the Wellstone National Forest, 30 miles outside of town. The small wooden structure stands weathered but solid, nearly invisible among the dense pines. A single dirt road, barely wide enough for one vehicle, provides the only access. Frank Coleman's pickup truck is parked behind the station, hidden under a camouflage tarp. The interior of the station is sparse but functional. A main room with basic furniture, a small kitchenette, and 2 side rooms. Military-grade radio equipment sits on a desk in the corner. Ryan sleeps fitfully on a worn couch, wrapped in a thermal blanket. Dr. Winters checks his vital signs, while Frank stands watch at the window, shotgun at the ready. The crunch of leaves outside alerts them. Frank raises his weapon. 3 precise knocks on the door, followed by 2 more, the prearranged signal. William enters, exhausted and tense. His clothes are smudged with soot from the boathouse fire. He moves immediately to Ryan, checking on his son. How is he? Stable, no more seizures. I've given him a mild sedative to help him rest. Thank you, doctor. I should be going. Less people here, the better. I've left medication in case the seizures return. 2 pills, no more than 8 hours apart. Frank escorts Dr. Winters to her car, hidden further down the service road. William sits beside Ryan, gently brushing hair from the boy's forehead. Ryan stirs but doesn't wake. When Frank returns, William recounts his meeting with Hayes and the revelation about Orpheus, Marcus Crane, and the network of sleepers. It's worse than I thought. Hayes claims there are hundreds of these sleepers embedded throughout government and military positions. The perfect infiltration. Not even the subjects know they're compromised. And my son can identify them somehow. That's why they've been testing him. Frank nods grimly. The blood tests are likely analyzing his genetic markers, looking for a way to replicate his ability. Or neutralize it. William pulls out the wooden key from Ryan's pocket. Under the station's bright lights, the microscopic etching is more visible. These look like coordinates followed by what could be a cipher key. Frank examines it closely. Latitude and longitude. It's a location about 100 miles from here, deep in the mountains. What would Emily hide there? Not just the location, the cipher key is military grade. Whatever information is encoded, it's highly classified. William stares at the key, troubled. Ryan said Emily insisted he never lose this key, that it was special. She was protecting something, using the one thing she knew would always stay with your son. Hayes said the key might contain a shutdown sequence for the entire Orpheus network. Frank's expression darkens. If true, every intelligence agency and Black Ops unit will be hunting for it. And for Ryan. Ryan whimpers in his sleep, his small hand reflexively reaching for the key. William places it back in the boy's grasp. Immediately, Ryan's breathing steadies. We need more information before we make any move. Emily gave me an address, said she'd explain everything. Could be a trap. Or our only chance to understand what we're up against. Frank checks his watch. It's 0200 now, you should rest. I'll take first watch. William hesitates, reluctant to sleep while threats loom. Sleep, soldier. That's an order. Can't protect your son if you're running on fumes. William nods, settling into a chair next to Ryan's couch. Despite his intention to remain alert, exhaustion claims him within minutes. Dawn breaks over the forest, pale light filtering through pine branches. William wakes with a start, instantly alert. Ryan still sleeps, the wooden key clutched in his hand. Frank stands at the kitchenette, brewing coffee on a camp stove. He hands William a steaming mug. Perimeter's clear, no signs of pursuit. William accepts the coffee gratefully. We can't stay hidden forever. Emily's meeting is at 1,000 hours. You still planning to go? I need answers. And if there's any chance Emily is trying to help, I have to know. Frank opens a footlocker, revealing an arsenal of weapons. Take this. He hands William a compact 9mm with suppressor and extra magazines. And this, a secure tactical radio, military grade. Keep it on channel 3. Emergency channel is 7. William checks the weapon, tucking it into his waistband. If I'm not back by noon, I'll move Ryan to location Charlie. But you'll be back. Ryan stirs, eyes fluttering open. He looks around, confused by the unfamiliar surroundings. Dad? William moves to his son's side. I'm here, buddy. How are you feeling? Ryan sits up slowly. My head hurts a little. Where are we? A safe place. Mr. Coleman's cabin in the woods. Ryan looks around with more interest. Like a secret hideout? William smiles slightly. Something like that. Because of the bad men who were looking for us? William exchanges a glance with Frank. Yes, but you're safe here. Ryan clutches the wooden key tighter. They want this, don't they? That's why Mom said to never lose it. William studies his son. Ryan, what exactly did Mom tell you about the key? Just that it was special, that it could open a door that needed to stay closed, and that if bad people got it, they could hurt a lot of people. Did she say anything else about Mr. Crane or about a project called Orpheus? Ryan's brow furrows in concentration. She said Mr. Crane wasn't really Mr. Crane, that he was sleeping inside, and sometimes when he looked at me funny, it was because the real person was trying to wake up. William absorbs this. And the tests he did with you? Mom said they were to help people who were lost inside themselves, but I had to pretend I didn't know. Ryan looks troubled. Was Mom lying to me? William chooses his words carefully. I don't think she was lying. I think she was trying to protect you in her own way. Ryan looks down at the key in his hand. It feels different now, warm sometimes, like it's awake. William shares another concerned look with Frank. Ryan, I need to go meet with your mom today to understand what's happening. You'll stay here with Mr. Coleman. Ryan's eyes widen in alarm. Don't go. What if the bad men get you? What if you don't come back? William places a reassuring hand on Ryan's shoulder. I'll come back. That's a promise, and you know I keep my promises. Ryan doesn't look convinced. Mom promised too, but she changed. I won't change, buddy, and we're going to help Mom if we can. Frank approaches with a small pack. I've prepared some breakfast, and there's a chess set in the side room. Maybe you could teach Ryan while I check the perimeter? William nods gratefully for the distraction. As Frank steps outside, William leads Ryan to the small table where oatmeal and dried fruit await. Did you know chess was originally a military training game? Each piece represents a different part of an army. Ryan picks up a knight, examining it closely. Like special forces? William smiles. Something like that. The knights can move in ways other pieces can't. They can jump over obstacles. Like you did in the army? Like I did in the army. As they eat and begin a simple chess lesson, William watches his son's face brighten with interest. For a moment, they could be any father and son enjoying a morning together. But the gun at William's waist and the wooden key in Ryan's pocket tell a different story. The address Emily provided leads to an old church on the outskirts of town. St. Augustine's hasn't held regular services in years, a victim of declining attendance and county budget cuts. The stone building stands dignified in its abandonment, stained glass windows dulled with dust but still intact. William approaches cautiously, having left Frank's truck a quarter-mile away and approached on foot through adjacent woods. He circles the building once, checking for surveillance or ambush points. The parking lot is empty except for a modest sedan with rental plates, likely Emily's. The heavy wooden doors are unlocked. William enters the dim interior, senses heightened. Dust motes dance in shafts of colored light from the stained glass. Rows of pews face a simple altar. The church is silent except for the occasional creak of old wood settling. I wasn't sure you'd come. Emily steps out from a side chapel dressed simply in jeans and a sweater, a stark contrast to her designer outfit at the school. Without makeup and expensive clothes, she looks more like the woman William married years ago. You said you'd explain. I'm here for explanations. Emily glances around nervously. I don't have much time. Victor thinks I'm at a spa retreat, the only place without his surveillance. Is he Marcus Crane? Emily's eyes widen. You know. I know parts. I want the full story. Emily gestures toward a pew. They sit, maintaining distance between them. It started 5 years ago. I was recruited for a classified genetic research project. They said it was to help soldiers with traumatic brain injuries. Mapping neural pathways, creating new connections. The perfect blend of my expertise in neurological gene expression. Orpheus? Emily nods. Though I didn't learn that name until later. The real purpose was far darker. Personality overlay. Creating what they called sleepers. Who's they? A shadow division within intelligence services, neither fully CIA nor military intelligence. They call themselves the Division, original, I know. And Victor? Emily's expression tightens. 3 years ago, they brought in a subject for the most ambitious overlay yet. A soldier declared KIA in action. The perfect cover. No one would look for him. Marcus Crane. Yes, my college boyfriend became the template for his new identity. They used my personal history to build Victor's backstory. The perfect infiltration. A man inserted into my life who I would have natural chemistry with. William absorbs this, the betrayal cutting deep. You knew it was Marcus from the beginning? No, I thought Victor was just another division operative assigned to monitor my work. I didn't realize he was actually a subject until I found anomalies in his blood work. Emily's voice falters. By then, I was already involved with him. The division planned it that way. And Ryan, how does our son factor into this? Emily's eyes fill with tears. That was my fault. During routine genetic screening I discovered Ryan has a rare genetic marker, a mutation that allows him to perceive incongruities in brain patterns. In simple terms, he can see when someone's consciousness doesn't match their exterior. He can identify sleepers. Yes, the division immediately wanted to use him as a testing tool. I fought against it, but they threatened you. Said they'd make sure you never returned from your deployment. So you agreed to test Ryan? I agreed to controlled, minimal testing. Blood draws to study his genetic markers, but no invasive procedures. Emily looks away. I thought I was protecting him. By letting them use him as a lab rat. By keeping him close. If I'd refused, they would have taken him anyway. This way I could monitor everything, ensure they didn't cross certain lines. William struggles to contain his anger. And the wooden key? What's its significance? Emily lowers her voice further. When I realized the true scope of Orpheus, hundreds of sleepers placed in key positions throughout government and military, I knew I had to create a failsafe. The key contains encrypted coordinates to a secure server with the shutdown codes for the entire Orpheus network. Hayes mentioned a shutdown sequence. Emily looks alarmed. You've spoken with Hayes? When? Last night he tried to capture me. Take the key. Hayes is compromised. He's working with a faction inside the division that wants to activate all sleepers simultaneously. A silent coup. William leans forward. What happens if the sleepers wake up? Chaos. Most have been programmed with dormant missions. Assassinations, sabotage, intelligence gathering. If activated without proper protocols, the psychological trauma would be devastating. Many would become violent, unpredictable. And if we use your shutdown sequence, the overlay personalities would gradually dissipate. The original consciousness would reemerge. Some would recover fully. Others might never regain full function, including Marcus. Emily's expression softens. Marcus is already fighting through. That's why Victor has been unstable lately. The original consciousness is resurfacing. Why not tell me any of this before? Why the charade of being the uncaring mother? The division monitors everything. I had to maintain my cover and... Emily hesitates. If they thought you knew anything, you'd become a target. I was trying to protect both of you. William studies her, searching for deception. Why tell me now? Because time's running out. Victor, or whatever mix of Victor and Marcus he's become, has realized what Ryan is, what the key is. He's planning to use both to seize control of the division and the entire Orpheus network. How? Ryan's genetic markers could be the key to stabilizing the wake-up process. With Ryan's blood and the shutdown codes, Victor could selectively wake sleepers loyal to him while eliminating others. When? Tonight. There's a division facility 30 miles from here. Underground bunker, former Cold War relic. That's where the main Orpheus control systems are housed. William absorbs this information. You're asking me to trust you after everything? I'm asking you to trust the woman who loved you enough to sacrifice her relationship with her son to keep him safe. Emily reaches into her pocket, removing a small flash drive. This contains everything I've gathered on Orpheus. Locations, personnel, the works. As William reaches for it, the stained glass window above them shatters. Emily gasps, blood blooming on her sweater. William dives, tackling her behind the pew as more shots ring out. Emily! She presses the flash drive into his hand, her breathing labored. Get to the server. Coordinates in the key. Password is Ryan's birthday and the day we met. William, I'm sorry. William checks her wound, a sniper round, center mass. Blood pools rapidly beneath her. Stay with me, Emily. Her eyes focus on him with desperate intensity. Tell Ryan, I never stopped loving him, that everything was to protect him. More gunfire peppers the church, splintering wood around them. William returns fire toward the window, providing cover. I need to get you out of here. Emily shakes her head weakly. Too late for me. Oh, Ryan needs you. The codes must be activated in person. Only a genetic match to mine or yours can access. Her voice fades, eyes losing focus. William checks her pulse. Weak, fading fast. Emily! With her last strength, Emily grips his arm. The division isn't the only player. There's another group, Operation Lazarus. Find General Westmore. He can help. Her hand goes limp. William checks again for pulse. Nothing. Grief is a luxury he can't afford as more rounds impact around him. 3 shooters minimum, converging on the church. William reloads, returning fire methodically while planning his escape route. The sacristy door offers the most cover. William makes a break for it, bullets tracing his path. Inside the small room, a window leads to the cemetery behind the church. He crashes through, rolling to absorb the impact, then sprints between gravestones toward the woods beyond. The shooters pursue, but William has the advantage of combat experience and terrain knowledge. He loses them in the dense forest, circling back toward where he left the truck. As he drives away, Emily's final words echo in his mind. Another player, Operation Lazarus, General Westmore, and a server that only he or Ryan can access. The mission has changed. This is no longer just about custody of his son. It's about national security, hundreds of compromised agents, and a coup in progress. And William has just become a widower. The ranger station comes into view, seemingly undisturbed, but William's instincts scream danger. He parks the truck half a mile away, approaching on foot through the woods. The first sign of trouble. Frank's pickup is now fully visible, the camouflage tarp discarded on the ground. The front door stands slightly ajar. William draws his weapon, advancing in a combat crouch. No sounds from inside, no movement visible through windows. He enters in a swift, fluid motion, weapons sweeping each corner. The main room is in disarray, signs of a struggle. Chess pieces scattered across the floor, a small blood stain on the wooden boards. Frank, Ryan! No response. William clears each room methodically, confirming the station is empty. In the back room, he finds Frank's shotgun, unfired, in the military radio, smashed beyond repair. On the table, a playing card, the knight from the chess set with a message scrawled on the back. The knight takes the king, midnight. You know where. William's blood runs cold. Victor has Ryan, and he knows about the key. A groan from outside alerts William. He moves cautiously to the rear of the station. Weapon ready. Frank lies partially hidden in underbrush, face bloodied, struggling to rise. William helps him inside, checking his injuries. Concussion, lacerations, possible broken ribs. They came, 5 of them. Military precision. I took down 2, but they had some kind of stun weapon. Ryan? Frank grimaces in pain and guilt. They took him. I'm sorry, Harrison. Not your fault. How long ago? An hour, maybe less. Black SUVs, headed east. William helps Frank to a chair, retrieving the first aid kit. As he treats the older man's wounds, his mind races. The message mentioned midnight. You know where. What did he mean? Frank winces as William cleans a gash on his forehead. Could be the division facility Emily mentioned. Or somewhere personal. Somewhere with meaning to both you and Marcus. William considers this. There's an old training ground we used. Abandoned missile silo converted to an urban combat facility. We ran drills there before our last deployment. Would Ryan know about it? No, but Marcus would. And if Victor is accessing Marcus's memories, Frank attempts to stand, faltering. We need to move. They'll have patrols looking for us. You're in no condition to fight. Doesn't matter. That boy needs us. William helps Frank to the truck, gathering what supplies remain. As they drive away from the ranger station, William contacts Dr. Winters on the emergency frequency, arranging a rendezvous to get Frank medical attention. You'll need backup, Frank insists. I have contacts, old agency friends who stayed off the grid. Can they be trusted? More than most. They were investigating Orpheus back in the day, got shut down but never stopped watching. William nods grimly. Make the calls. We'll need everything they've got. As they drive, William inserts Emily's flash drive into the truck's aging computer system. Files appear. Schematics, personnel records, operation details. The scope of Orpheus is staggering. Sleepers in the State Department, Pentagon, FBI, even the Secret Service. My God, Frank breathes, examining the files. It's worse than we thought. If these sleepers activate, they won't. We're ending this tonight. A personnel file catches William's attention. General Arthur Westmore, Marine Corps, former commander of Special Operations Command. Current status, forcibly retired, under house arrest at his Virginia estate. The general's history includes opposition to Orpheus and attempts to shut down the program. Emily mentioned him, said he could help. Frank studies the file. Westmore was a legend, straight arrow, old-school patriot. If he opposed Orpheus, it was for good reason. Can we reach him? Not directly, but I know people who might have channels. What happened? They reached the rendezvous point, an abandoned gas station miles from town. Dr. Winters arrives minutes later, her medical bag ready. As she treats Frank's injuries, William studies the schematics of the division facility in the missile silo. Two potential locations, both heavily secured. Which one would Victor choose? The answer comes when William examines a map overlay of sleeper locations. The highest concentration surrounds Washington, D.C., with a secondary cluster near the division facility. He's going for maximum impact. The facility gives him access to the entire network. Frank, now bandaged and medicated, nods agreement. Strategic thinking, classic Marcus. But why take Ryan there? Because he needs Ryan's genetic markers to stabilize the wake-up process. William's expression darkens. And because he knows I'll come for my son. It's a trap. Of course it is. Dr. Winters finishes securing Frank's bandages. You can't possibly assault a black site facility. They'll have security, manpower, everything. I've faced worse odds. Not with your son's life at stake. William's jaw tightens. That's exactly why I'll succeed. Frank's secure phone rings, one of his contacts. He listens briefly, then reports, Westmore is being moved tonight. Marine Corps escort, taking him to a secure medical facility. Official story is health concerns. Timing's not coincidental, William notes. The division is eliminating potential opposition before they make their move. Or securing assets they'll need, Frank counters. Either way, Westmore will be on the road in a vulnerable position. William studies the route on the map. If we intercept the convoy, we might gain a valuable ally, someone with the authority and connections to help us. And the knowledge to understand what we're dealing with, Frank adds. William checks his watch. 1,500 hours now. Westmore moves at 1,800. Division facility is 3 hours from here. Timing's tight but workable. De Winter shakes her head. You're planning to intercept a military convoy, then assault a black ops facility, all before midnight? That's suicide. That's Tuesday, Frank mutters darkly. Welcome to the world we live in, Doctor. William begins marking points on the map, formulating a plan. We'll need gear, weapons, communications. My contacts are bringing what they can, ETA 30 minutes. William nods, continuing to plan. The convoy will take Highway 16 through Ravens Pass. Narrow road, minimal escape routes. Perfect intercept point. And after we get Westmore, assuming he's willing to help, then we go after my son. Ravens Pass cuts through rocky terrain, the two-lane highway winding between steep embankments. Perfect for an ambush or an interception. William and Frank position themselves at a strategic curve, their borrowed vehicle hidden behind a natural outcropping. Frank checks his watch. Convoy should be here in 5 minutes, assuming they're on schedule. William adjusts his tactical gear, borrowed from Frank's contacts, a mix of military and civilian equipment. Remember, this is an extraction, not an engagement. We identify Westmore's vehicle, deploy the spike strip, then move in during the confusion. Marine escort won't surrender their charge easily. That's why we're using non-lethal options first. These are American servicemen following orders. We disable, not eliminate. Frank checks the drone feed on his tablet. Convoy approaching, 4 vehicles. Standard formation, lead Humvee, 2 SUVs, rear Humvee. Westmore will be in the middle SUV, most protected position. They don radio headsets, synchronized to a secure frequency. 30 seconds, Frank reports. Initiating countdown. William positions himself with the remote trigger for the spike strip, hidden beneath a thin layer of dirt across the highway. 3, 2, 1 second. William activates the strip as the convoy rounds the curve. The lead Humvee's tires blow instantly, sending the vehicle into a controlled skid. The driver manages to maintain control, bringing it to a stop, blocking half the road. The convoy halts, security personnel deploying in defensive positions. William activates the second phase. Smokes grenades launched from hidden positions, creating confusion without causing harm. Moving in, William and Frank advance through the smoke, using the terrain for cover. They approach the second SUV from the blind side, avoiding the Marine's line of sight. The rear door opens and an elderly man emerges, waving off his security detail. General Arthur Westmore, 70s, stands ramrod straight despite his years. His voice carries the unmistakable command presence of a career officer. "Whoever you are, you've made your point. Let's talk before my men start shooting." William approaches with hands visible. "General Westmore, Lieutenant Colonel William Harrison, Special Forces. We need to speak with you about Orpheus." Westmore's expression remains impassive, but his eyes sharpen. "Bold move, Colonel. Most men who mention that name don't live long." "My son's life is at stake, sir, and possibly national security." Westmore studies him, then nods to his security detail. "Stand down. I'll speak with the colonel." To William, "You have 2 minutes before my men reconsider their restraint." "Sir, Orpheus has been reactivated. Sleepers are being placed in key positions throughout government and military. My son has genetic markers that can identify them, and now he's been taken by the program director." Westmore's composure slips momentarily. "Orpheus was terminated. I saw to it personally." "It went underground, sir. A shadow division continued the work. They've created hundreds of sleeper agents, and now someone's planning to activate them all simultaneously." Frank joins them, keeping watch on the Marines who maintain defensive positions. "Frank Coleman," Westmore recognizes him. "Still alive, you old spook? Thought the agency would have buried you years ago." "Nearly did, sir, several times." Westmore turns back to William. "You mentioned your son. How is he involved?" "He can identify sleepers on sight, some genetic ability. The division has been testing him, drawing blood. Now they've taken him, along with a key containing shutdown codes for the entire network. And you want my help to retrieve him? We need someone with your authority and knowledge, sir. Someone who understands what we're facing." Westmore considers this, then turns to his lead security officer. "Captain, there's been a change of plans. You and your men will continue to the medical facility as ordered. Report that I arrived safely." "Sir, with respect, your orders come from a chain of command that may be compromised, Captain. Mine come from 30 years of serving this country and recognizing a clear and present danger when I see one." The captain hesitates, then nods reluctantly. "Yes, sir, but I'll need to report this." "Of course you will, in approximately 12 hours. That should give us enough time." William and Frank exchange glances. Westmore is sharper than his official file suggested. The general turns back to them. "I assume you have transportation?" "Yes, sir. Hidden half a mile back." "Then let's not waste time. If Orpheus has truly been reactivated, we have a significant problem." As they escort Westmore to their vehicle, the general briefs them on his history with the program. Orpheus began as a Cold War initiative. The Soviets had their own version, Project Koshchei. Both sides looking for ways to place deep cover agents who wouldn't break under interrogation. "Because they didn't know they were agents," Frank notes. "Precisely. The perfect spy believes his cover completely." Westmore shakes his head. "We shut it down in '89 when test subjects began experiencing severe psychosis. The personality overlay technique was deemed too unstable." "What changed?" William asks, helping the general into their vehicle. "Technology, neuroscience, genetic manipulation." Westmore settles into his seat with military precision. By 2010, a new generation of researchers believed they'd solved the stability issues through genetic screening. Only certain genetic profiles could successfully maintain a dual consciousness. Like my son's. If he can identify sleepers, then yes, his genetic profile would be of immense value to the program. As they drive away from the interception point, William shares Emily's flash drive with Westmore. The general reviews the files with growing concern. "This is far more extensive than anything we contemplated. Sleepers in every branch of government, military, intelligence services." He looks up sharply. "When did you say the activation was planned?" "Midnight tonight, at the division facility." Westmore checks his watch. "Then we have less than 6 hours to prevent a silent coup." Frank guides the vehicle onto a side road, avoiding main highways where roadblocks might be established. "General, what do you know about something called Operation Lazarus?" Westmore's expression changes subtly. Where did you hear that name? Emily, my wife, mentioned it before she died, said they were another player, not part of the division. Westmore is silent for a long moment. Operation Lazarus was my initiative, a contingency plan in case Orpheus ever resurfaced. A small group of absolutely trusted personnel completely off the books. A countermeasure against sleeper agents, Frank surmises. More than that, a way to identify and recover them, to undo the damage we'd done. Westmore's voice carries the weight of old regrets. These were American servicemen and women, after all. Many never volunteered for what was done to them. Like Marcus Crane, William says quietly. Your teammate? He was part of Orpheus? William explains Marcus's apparent death and resurrection as Victor Crane. Westmore absorbs this grimly. The perfect cover. Declare them KIA, then reprogram and reinsert. How large is Lazarus, sir? Frank asks. Do we have assets we can call on? Limited. Most of my trusted contacts have been systematically removed from positions of authority over the past few years. Now I understand why. The division clearing the field, William notes. Precisely. But we're not without resources. Westmore pulls out a secure phone that his Marine detail hadn't confiscated. I have 3 active cells who can provide support. None large enough to assault the facility directly, but they can create diversions, gather intelligence. As Westmore makes his calls, William studies the facility schematics more carefully. The underground bunker has 3 access points, all heavily secured, multiple layers of security, armed guards, electronic countermeasures. Even with Lazarus support, a frontal assault is suicide, Frank observes. We don't need to fight our way in, William replies. We just need to reach the control center where Ryan is being held. And how do you propose we do that? William indicates a maintenance tunnel on the schematic. Air filtration system. Cold War bunkers always had vulnerable points, ways for authorized personnel to enter in case of primary system failure. Westmore rejoins them, having completed his calls. My people will be in position by 2200 hours, creating diversions at the north and east entrances. While we enter through the maintenance shaft from the south, William confirms. A solid plan, but with one flaw, Westmore points out. The division will be expecting some form of rescue attempt. They'll have the tunnel covered. Unless they're convinced I'm coming in another way. William outlines his strategy, using one of Westmore's Lazarus operatives as a decoy, making a visible approach to draw attention while the real infiltration happens elsewhere. Risky, Frank comments, but practical, Westmore approves. The division knows you're coming for your son. They're counting on it. They'll be looking for a one-and-only operator or small team. Not a coordinated assault with inside knowledge, William finishes. As they continue planning, William asks the question that's been troubling him since learning of Orpheus's true nature. Sir, if the overlay technology is so advanced, how can we be sure who to trust? How do we know who might be a sleeper? Westmore's expression is grave. That's the true horror of Orpheus, Colonel. We can't be certain. Anyone could be compromised, even those closest to us. Except Ryan. He can see them, which makes him both our greatest asset and the most endangered person in this equation. Frank checks the time. 1630 hours. We should reach the rendezvous point with Lazarus operatives by 1800, giving us 3 hours for final preparations. William nods, his focus absolute. The mission parameters are clear. Infiltrate the facility, locate Ryan, secure the server room, and activate the shutdown sequence, all while facing unknown numbers of potentially compromised security personnel. And somewhere in that facility is Victor Crane, or what remains of his friend Marcus, trapped inside an artificial personality. A man who once saved William's life in combat, now threatening everything he holds dear. The ultimate test of loyalty to country, to family, and to the brothers in arms who share a bond forged in battle. The Lazarus Safe House is a nondescript farmhouse 20 miles from the division facility. As dusk falls, William, Frank, and General Westmore review final preparations with the assembled team. 6 operators with backgrounds ranging from Delta Force to CIA Special Activities. Maps and equipment cover the dining table. Communication gear, weapons, and tactical gear are being checked and double-checked. Major Diane Rollins, 40s, Westmore's second-in-command, briefs the team on their intelligence. Satellite imagery shows increased activity at the facility, additional security patrols, reinforced checkpoints. They are preparing for something significant. Or someone, William notes. We've identified what appears to be a command vehicle arriving an hour ago. High-level personnel based on the security detail. Westmore examines the imagery. The divisions and director would need to be present for a network-wide activation, which means all the key players will be there, Frank adds. Convenient. William focuses on the schematics, memorizing every detail of their infiltration route. The maintenance tunnel leads to a sub-level access corridor, which connects to the main bunker complex. From there, they'll need to reach the central control room, where Victor is most likely holding Ryan. Major, what about internal security systems? Surveillance? Motion detectors? We've identified their security network. It's isolated from external connections, but one of our people placed a back door last year during a routine inspection. Rollins indicates a young tech specialist setting up equipment. Lieutenant Park can trigger a selective camera loop in critical sectors, giving us approximately 7 minutes of invisible movement before their fail-safes detect the intrusion. 7 minutes to cover 300 meters of heavily guarded territory, William calculates. Tight, but doable. Westmore reviews the team assignments. Team Alpha will create a diversionary assault at the north entrance. Team Bravo handles the east approach, making enough noise to draw additional security response. Meanwhile, Colonel Harrison, myself, and Sergeant Miller will enter through the maintenance tunnel and proceed to the control center. With all due respect, General, Frank interjects, you're 70 years old. This kind of infiltration requires, I'm well aware of my limitations, Mr. Coleman. But I'm also the only one who knows all the authentication codes for the original Orpheus systems. If those are still in place, we'll need them. William continues studying the facility layout. What about Ryan? How do we locate him once inside? Rollins activates a thermal imaging display. We've detected an isolated heat signature here, sub-level 3, adjacent to the main control room. Single occupant, small stature, consistent with a child. William nods grimly. That's where I'm heading first. The primary objective is to reach the server room and initiate the shutdown sequence, Westmore reminds him. Without that, we can't stop the activation. With all due respect, sir, my son is my primary objective. The rest is secondary. Westmore holds William's gaze. I understand your priority, Colonel, but if those sleepers activate, the damage to national security would be catastrophic. Hundreds of compromised individuals in positions of power, all executing pre-programmed directives simultaneously. The tension in the room rises as the two men face off. A father's love against national security imperatives. Frank breaks the silence. We need to consider that Ryan may be the key to both objectives. According to Emily, the shutdown sequence requires genetic authentication from either her or William. Since Emily is dead, that leaves William or Ryan as the only ones who can activate it. William considers this. So rescuing Ryan isn't just a personal mission, it's essential to stopping Orpheus. Westmore nods, tension easing. Agreed, we adjust the plan. Primary objective is securing the boy and reaching the server room. As the team continues preparations, William steps outside onto the farmhouse porch, needing a moment alone. The night sky stretches above, stars emerging in the growing darkness. Somewhere under that same sky, his son is being held by people who see him only as a genetic anomaly, a tool to be used. Frank joins him, offering a cup of coffee. You should rest while you can. It's going to be a long night. William accepts the coffee but remains standing, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. I keep thinking about what Emily said, that Victor, or Marcus, has been fighting through his programming, that the real person is trying to wake up. You're wondering if your friend is still in there somewhere. We went through hell together, Frank. Multiple deployments, situations where we depended on each other for survival. If any part of Marcus is still conscious, you can't hesitate if it comes to it, Frank warns. Whatever's left of Marcus is buried under layers of conditioning and false personality. The man holding your son isn't your brother in arms anymore. I know, but if there's a chance to reach him, to help him break through, Frank places a hand on William's shoulder. Your priority has to be Ryan. Everything else is secondary, including old loyalties. William nods, accepting the harsh truth. How are your injuries holding up? I've had worse. Dr. Winters did good work. I'll manage. You should stay here. Coordinate from a safe distance. Frank snorts. Not a chance, son. I made a promise to your father a long time ago. I intend to keep it. Before William can respond, Major Rawlins calls from the doorway. Colonel, General Westmore needs you. We've intercepted a transmission from the facility. Inside, the team is gathered around communications equipment. Lieutenant Park adjusts controls, clarifying an audio feed. Signals encrypted, but we're running it through Lazarus decryption protocols. Stand by. Static gives way to a voice, cold, controlled, with undertones of something else, something struggling beneath the surface. Final preparations complete. Subject is secured and responding as expected. Genetic sequencing confirms compatibility. Awaiting your arrival, Director, to commence full network activation. William tenses, recognizing the voice despite its altered cadence. That's Victor, or what's left of Marcus. A second voice responds, authoritative, female. Excellent work, Mr. Crane. The director sends his compliments. He'll be arriving at 2300 hours for the final authorization. Ensure the subject is prepared for the procedure. The blood extraction process has already begun. We'll have sufficient material for the stabilization sequence by 2200. William's hands clench at his sides. They're taking his blood, using him to stabilize the wake-up process for the other sleepers. That confirms our timeline, Westmore notes. Midnight activation, with the director arriving at 2300 for final authorization. We move in at 2200, William decides, when they're focused on preparing for the director's arrival. As the team finalizes details, Lieutenant Park suddenly straightens, adjusting his headset. Sir, there's something else coming through. Another transmission. Different channel. The voice that emerges is young, frightened, but determined. Ryan. Dad, if you can hear this, they're keeping me in a room with lots of computers. Mr. Crane said you're coming, but it's a trap. There are lots of men with guns, and Mr. Crane is different. Sometimes he sounds like himself, then he changes, like there's two people fighting. William moves closer to the speaker, heart racing. Ryan, I still have the key, Dad. They don't know it's special. Mr. Crane keeps asking about a server and codes, but I pretend I don't understand. Please be careful. The transmission cuts off abruptly. The room falls silent. How did he manage to transmit, Frank wonders. Lieutenant Park studies the signal characteristics. It appears he accessed an emergency communication system. Old Cold War technology, separate from the main network. Smart kid. That's my son, William says quietly, pride mixing with fear. He's resourceful. Westmore approaches, expression grave. Colonel, this changes things. They don't have the key yet, which means Ryan is still in control of the shutdown codes. But if they realize its significance, they'll take it from him by force, William finishes. We need to move now. Negative. Rushing in without proper preparation will get us all killed, and your son needs you alive. William knows Westmore is right, but every fiber of his being screams to act immediately. The thought of Ryan alone, surrounded by hostiles, being used as a lab specimen. Sir, there's one more thing you should hear, Lieutenant Park interrupts. After the boy's transmission cut off, there was another signal, very brief on a military frequency. He adjusts the equipment, playing back a short transmission. RH to command. The Eagle remembers. Repeat, the Eagle remembers. Westmore's expression changes dramatically. That's a Lazarus authentication code. The Eagle remembers. Meaning it, William presses. It means we have someone inside, someone loyal to Operation Lazarus. Who? Westmore shakes his head. Impossible to know. We had several deep cover operatives when Lazarus was shut down. Some were never officially extracted. Could it be Marcus breaking through, William suggests, if he's fighting the overlay personality? Possible, but risky to assume, Frank cautions. Could also be a trap to lure us in with false hope. William absorbs this new information, recalculating options. Whether it's a friendly or not, we stick to the plan. But now we know Ryan still has the key, and he's aware enough to find ways to communicate. Which means the division doesn't have full control yet, Westmore adds. We still have a chance. The final hour before deployment passes in focused preparation. Weapons are checked, communication protocols established, contingencies planned. William reviews every detail, knowing that any oversight could cost Ryan his life. As the team prepares to move out, William takes a moment to study a photo of Ryan from his wallet, taken on the boy's 7th birthday, the last one William was present for. The gap between then and now represents everything that's been stolen from them: time, normalcy, security. Frank notices the photo. You'll have more birthdays with him, many more. William tucks the photo away. Count on it. The convoy of nondescript vehicles departs the farmhouse at precisely 2100 hours, heading toward separate staging positions around the division facility. In the lead vehicle, William, Westmore, and Sergeant Miller prepare for the infiltration. Westmore reviews final details. Remember, once inside, we'll have minimal communication with the outside teams. If something goes wrong, we're on our own. Nothing will go wrong, William states with quiet certainty. My son is coming home tonight. As they approach the outer perimeter of the facility grounds, William's mind focuses to laser precision. Years of special forces training take over, channeling emotion into tactical awareness. Every sense heightened, every movement calculated. In his pocket, he carries Emily's flash drive and a small photo of Ryan. In his heart, he carries the determination of a father who will stop at nothing to protect his child. The division facility looms ahead, its surface structures deceptively modest, a series of administrative buildings surrounded by security fencing. But beneath lies the real facility, a Cold War relic repurposed for a modern nightmare. Sergeant Miller pulls the vehicle off the main road onto a service track, cutting lights. 1 mile to the maintenance tunnel entrance, sir. William checks his weapon one final time. Let's move. As they exit the vehicle, the night envelops them. In the distance, the lights of the division facility shine against the darkness, unaware that their reckoning approaches. The final assault on Orpheus has begun. The division facility rises from the darkness like a fortress, a complex of low concrete buildings surrounded by security fencing and guard towers. But the real structure lies beneath, burrowed deep into the earth during the height of Cold War paranoia. William, Frank, and General Westmore observe from a ridge half a mile away. The tactical team from Operation Lazarus, 6 operatives with specialized equipment, prepares nearby. Night vision devices reveal the facility's defensive layout. 20 guards on perimeter patrol, motion sensors along the fence line, thermal imaging cameras at each access point, military-grade security for a facility that officially doesn't exist. Team Alpha is in position at the north entrance. Team Bravo approaching from the east. Our diversion begins in exactly 7 minutes. Satellite uplink established, General. Accessing Division Security Network now. Remember, we need a selective camera loop on Sectors 3 and 4. The maintenance tunnel access is our only shot at getting in undetected. We have a visual confirmation on the target. Central Control Room, Sublevel 3. 2 heat signatures. 1 adult, 1 child. Ryan. William examines the schematic one final time, committing every corridor and junction to memory. The maintenance tunnel leads to a sub-level access corridor, connecting to the main bunker through a series of secured airlocks. From there, they'll need to navigate to the central control room, where Victor is holding Ryan. General Westmore adjusts his tactical vest, checking his sidearm. For a man in his 70s, he moves with surprising efficiency. Muscle memory from decades of service. Final communications check. Maintain radio discipline once we're inside. If something goes wrong, the extraction point is the western ridge, half a mile from the outer fence. Lieutenant Park will have transport waiting. What about Ryan? My priority is your son's safety, Colonel. But we have to face the possibility that if the mission is compromised, we may need to abort and regroup. The stakes are too high to risk failure. I'm not leaving without my son. No one's asking you to, but you need to be prepared for all contingencies. If we have to extract and return with reinforcements, that's what we'll do. Frank checks his weapon, grimacing slightly from his injuries. Let's make sure it doesn't come to that. The Lazarus tech specialist signals from his equipment. Teams are ready, diversion commencing in 3, 2, 1. In the distance, explosions bloom at the north entrance. Controlled charges designed to trigger alarms without causing casualties. Seconds later, similar explosions at the east perimeter. Security personnel rush toward both locations, emergency protocols activating. On the security feed, the response is immediate. Guards converge on the breach points, vehicles deploy, floodlights activate. Exactly as planned. Security systems responding. Initiating camera loop now. You have 6 minutes, 50 seconds of invisible movement through sectors 3 and 4. William, Westmore, and Frank move swiftly through the darkness toward the maintenance tunnel entrance, a concrete structure half buried in the hillside, designed to look like an electrical substation. The padlock yields easily to specialized tools. Inside, cool, musty air carries the scent of metal and old concrete. Emergency lighting casts dim red illumination along a descending shaft. They move efficiently, following the route marked on their tactical displays. 5 minutes, 40 seconds remaining on the loop. The tunnel ends at a heavy steel door with a keypad. Westmore punches in a code from memory, command override protocols from the original construction. Let's hope they never change them. The door slides open with a hydraulic hiss. Beyond lies a maintenance corridor, narrow, utilitarian, clearly not meant for regular use. They proceed in tactical formation, William on point, Frank covering the rear despite his injuries, Westmore between them with specialized equipment to bypass security systems. 4 minutes, 15 seconds. They reach the first security checkpoint, a sealed airlock with biometric scanners. Westmore attaches a device to the control panel, modern security grafted onto Cold War infrastructure. Their fatal mistake was keeping the original systems as backup. The airlock cycles open. They move through quickly, entering the main facility. Here, the environment changes dramatically. Polished floors, recessed lighting, the sterile efficiency of a high-tech research installation. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. You're approaching the first guard station. 2 personnel showing on thermal. William signals a halt. From his tactical pack, he removes a small canister. Rolling it around the corner, he waits 3 seconds before advancing. The guards lie unconscious, victims of a fast-acting aerosol sedative. Clear. Moving to sub-level access. The elevator requires security clearance. Westmore overrides it with another device from his pack. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. The elevator descends silently, indicating sub-level markers as they drop deeper beneath the earth. Sub-level 3, their destination. We have a problem. Security protocols just changed. They're implementing a system-wide diagnostic. Camera loop will fail in 60 seconds. William checks his weapon. Then we go loud if necessary. We're already committed. The elevator stops. Doors slide open onto a corridor more heavily fortified than the upper levels. Security doors with reinforced glass, cameras at every junction. William consults the facility schematic on his tactical display. Control room is 50 meters ahead through 2 security checkpoints. Loop failing in 10 seconds. 5 wished. System diagnostic initiated. We've been detected. Security alerts triggering throughout the facility. Alarms begin to sound. Not the urgent klaxon of perimeter breach, but the measured pulsing tone of internal security response. So much for the subtle approach. They move swiftly down the corridor, abandoning stealth for speed. The first security door yields to Westmore's override device. The second requires more direct measures. Frank plants a small breaching charge that disables the lock with minimal noise. All combat teams execute distraction protocol alpha. Maximum non-lethal force authorized. Above them, the diversion teams escalate their assaults, drawing security response away from the sublevel. But internal security teams are already responding, closing in on their position. They reach the final corridor leading to the control room. 2 guards outside, both armed with submachine guns. Before William can formulate an approach, the guards' radios crackle with urgent communication. They listen, then hurriedly abandon their post, rushing toward the elevators. That's not normal procedure. Someone just drew them away deliberately. The Eagle remembers. We still have a friendly inside. William approaches the control room door cautiously. No obvious traps or security measures beyond the standard locks. Westmore bypasses them with practiced efficiency. The door slides open. The control room beyond is a technological marvel. Banks of servers, holographic displays, multiple workstations. And at the center, Victor Crane stands beside a medical chair where Ryan sits, connected to IV lines and monitoring equipment. Victor turns as they enter, his expression a strange mixture of recognition and confusion. For a moment, his face seems to shift between identities, the smooth businessman and the hardened soldier beneath. I knew you'd come, Will. You were always predictable that way, loyal to a fault. Let my son go, Victor. Or Marcus. Whoever you are now. Victor tilts his head, studying William with unnerving intensity. Interesting question. Who am I? Some days I'm not entirely sure anymore. There are gaps, memories that don't quite fit, dreams of places I've never been, missions I never executed, at least not as Victor Crane. Ryan remains conscious but subdued, eyes following the conversation with fearful alertness. William makes brief eye contact with his son, a silent reassurance. I know what you're planning, Victor. Using Ryan's genetic markers to stabilize the wake-up process, then activating sleepers loyal to you. Very good, Will. Always the quick study, but not quite accurate. I'm not just waking some sleepers. I'm waking all of them. Giving them back what was stolen, their true selves. That would cause chaos, psychological breaks, violence, you know that. A necessary transitional phase. Some will be lost, yes, but the strong will survive, reclaim their identities, like I'm doing. Victor's expression flickers momentarily, revealing pain beneath the controlled exterior. Do you have any idea what it's like to have memories that aren't yours? To feel emotions for people you've never met? To wake up sometimes not knowing which life is real? Westmore steps forward. We can help you, son. There are protocols for safely reversing the overlay process. Ways to recover your original identity without trauma. Victor's attention shifts to Westmore, recognition dawning. General Arthur Westmore, the conscience of Orpheus. They told me you were dead. Many people were told many things, most of them lies. Frank positions himself unobtrusively, moving gradually toward a secondary console, keeping Victor's attention focused on William and Westmore. Victor gestures toward the equipment surrounding Ryan. Your son is remarkable, Will. His genetic structure allows him to perceive the duality in sleepers, to see both personalities simultaneously. The division has been searching for this capability for years, a way to identify sleeper agents without technological intervention. And now you're using him as a lab rat. I'm using him to save hundreds of men and women like me, soldiers who were taken, modified, their identities erased and replaced with lies. I'm giving them a chance to remember who they are. William takes a careful step forward. If that's true, then you're still Marcus somewhere inside. My friend, my brother in arms, the man who saved my life in Kandahar. Victor's composure wavers, his eyes momentarily unfocused. Kandahar, the ambush. You were pinned down. I carried you 2 miles to extraction. That was Marcus Crane, my friend. Not Victor Crane, whoever he's supposed to be. Victor's face contorts, internal conflict visible. Stop it. You're trying to confuse me, trigger memory cascades. The division warned me you'd try this. Psychological warfare. Not warfare, Marcus. The truth. If you're trying to help sleepers recover their identities, start with yourself. Victor regains his composure with visible effort. Enough. You're too late anyway. The process has already begun. Ryan's genetic markers have been synthesized and integrated into the activation protocol. At midnight, the signal goes out. All sleepers will begin remembering. Some will break, yes, but those who don't will be free. Westmore moves toward one of the monitoring stations. We can't let that happen. The psychological trauma would be catastrophic. National security would be compromised. National security? Victor laughs bitterly. What about the security of the men and women who were violated? Who had their minds wiped and rewritten without consent? Where was your concern for them, General? I fought to shut down Orpheus. When that failed, I created Operation Lazarus to help those affected. Too little, too late. Now I'm finishing what you started. A complete shutdown, but on my terms. William keeps his focus on Ryan, noting the IV lines, the monitoring equipment. Ryan's eyes meet his, conveying silent communication. The boy's hand moves slightly, revealing the wooden keys still clutched in his palm. They didn't find it, or didn't recognize its significance. Frank continues his subtle movement toward a secondary console, now within reach. Marcus, listen to me. Emily created a shutdown sequence, a way to safely deactivate the overlay personalities without trauma. Let us use it. Let us help you and all the others. Emily. Victor's expression shifts again, something like grief momentarily visible. Is she really dead? Yes. Division operatives killed her this morning. After she told me about the server, about you, about what was done to you, I remember her from before. College. We dated before she met you. Victor shakes his head, confused. No, that's not right. I met her 3 years ago through mutual friends. Business associates, both are true. The division used your real connection to build Victor's backstory. They planted him, you, in her life because she knew you before. It would feel natural, familiar. Victor staggers slightly, gripping the edge of a console for support. The division director arrives in 15 minutes. After that, it's out of my hands. The activation sequence will proceed regardless. Then help us stop it. Help us save the sleepers, including you. Victor looks at Ryan, genuine remorse crossing his features. I never wanted to hurt him. I just needed clarity. The test showed his genetic markers could stabilize the transition, prevent the psychosis that affects most awakening sleepers. Westmore accesses a terminal, reviewing the activation protocols. It's a cascading sequence. If we can interrupt it at the source, we can prevent network-wide activation. But we need the shutdown codes. Ryan suddenly speaks up, his voice small but determined. Mom said the key opens a door that needs to stay closed. Victor's attention snaps to Ryan. The key? What key? Ryan slowly reveals the wooden key in his palm. This. Dad made it for me, but Mom put something inside it. She said it would help people who were lost find their way home. William meets his son's gaze with pride. Ryan had kept the key hidden, waiting for the right moment. Even under duress, the boy had maintained his composure, protected what mattered. Victor reaches for the key, but Ryan closes his hand around it. Only Dad can use it. Mom said so. William extends his hand. May I, buddy? Ryan places the key in his father's palm. Victor watches intently, conflict evident in his expression. William examines the key closely. The coordinates etched microscopically point to a specific server location. But accessing it would require leaving the facility, time they don't have. Westmore recognizes William's dilemma. The original Orpheus systems had a backup access point, a way to reach the secure server from any primary facility. It should be here if they maintain the original architecture. The general moves to a terminal, accessing deep system functions. A hidden menu appears, requesting authentication codes. Westmore enters a long sequence from memory. This will establish a direct connection to the server location, but will still need the decryption key. William places the wooden key on a scanning pad connected to the terminal. Nothing happens. It needs genetic authentication. Emily said only she or I could access it, or Ryan. Victor watches this process with growing agitation. The division director will be here any minute. If he finds you, finds out what you're attempting. Help us, Marcus. If you're really trying to free the sleepers, this is the way. A controlled shutdown, not a chaotic awakening that leaves half of them permanently damaged. Victor's internal struggle becomes more pronounced. His posture shifts between the rigid bearing of Victor Crane and the more fluid stance of Marcus. When he speaks again, his voice has changed subtly, less cultured, more direct. How do I know this shutdown sequence won't just kill us all? Erase everything, including our original identities? Because Emily designed it. And whatever else happened between you, you know she wouldn't design something to cause harm. She was trying to help. The name Emily triggers another visible shift in Victor's demeanor. For a moment, Marcus seems to surface more fully. Emily always was the smartest person in any room. Even at 20, she understood genetic engineering better than her professors. A warning alarm sounds on one of the consoles. Westmore checks it quickly. The director's convoy has arrived at the facility perimeter. We have less than 5 minutes. Victor, or perhaps now more Marcus than Victor, makes a decision. He moves to Ryan, carefully removing the IV lines and monitoring equipment. This was never about hurting him. I just needed the genetic markers to stabilize my own transition, to remember without breaking. Ryan watches him warily but allows him to disconnect the medical equipment. The boy remains still until the last line is removed, then immediately moves to William's side. You okay, buddy? I'm okay, Dad. I pretended to be scared, like you taught me, so they wouldn't know I was thinking. William places a protective arm around his son's shoulders, pride mixing with relief. Westmore completes the server connection. Terminal ready for authentication. We need a genetic sample. William looks to Ryan. A simple cheek swab will do it, buddy. Nothing painful. Ryan nods bravely. Like when Mom did the tests? Just like that. To help people who are lost. As Westmore prepares the genetic authentication, Frank calls from the secondary console. Security protocols changing. Someone's locked down the elevator access to this level. We're sealed in, the director. He must have detected the intrusion. Victor, now showing more characteristics of Marcus, moves decisively to another console. I can override it, but not for long. Maybe 2 minutes. Enough time for one person to get out. One person can't complete this mission alone. Not alone, with the boy. The two of you need to reach the server room at the coordinates. Activate the shutdown sequence in person. It's the only way to be certain. What about you? I'll hold them here. Buy you time. Frank and the general can help. William studies his former teammate, seeing more of his friend emerging from beneath the overlay personality. That's a suicide mission, Marcus. Marcus offers a grim smile, the expression entirely different from Victor's practiced charm. Wouldn't be our first, would it? Besides, I'm already dead according to official records. Ryan undergoes the genetic authentication process, a simple cheek swab analyzed by the system. The terminal confirms his genetic markers, establishing the secure connection to the server. Coordinates confirmed, authentication accepted, connection established to remote server Alpha 7-3. William reviews the information displayed, a complex shutdown protocol requiring physical activation at the server location, plus the decryption key Emily had encoded into the wooden toy. This has to be done in person, at the server location. Then you'd better get moving. Marcus begins typing rapidly, overriding security protocols. Elevator access restored, but it won't last. 2 minutes max. Westmore makes a quick decision. Coleman and I will hold position here. Create a diversion when the director arrives. You and Ryan head for the server facility. Sir, with respect, that's an order, Colonel. This mission is bigger than any of us. The shutdown sequence must be activated. Frank checks his weapon, taking position near the door. We'll buy you as much time as we can. William turns to Marcus, seeing his friend fully present now, the Victor personality receding. You coming back from this? Not likely. The overlay personality is already fighting to reassert control, but for now, I remember who I am. What matters? The moment stretches between them. Brothers in arms, recognizing each other one final time. I'll make this right, Marcus. For all of you. I know you will. Now go, before Victor comes back. William leads Ryan to the elevator. As the doors close, the last images of Marcus, Frank, and Westmore taking defensive positions around the control room, preparing for the director's arrival. The elevator ascends swiftly. Ryan stands close to his father, still clutching the wooden key. Is Mr. Crane going to be okay? I don't know, buddy. He's sick in a way that's hard to fix, but he's fighting to get better. He has 2 people inside him. I can see them. Sometimes one is stronger, sometimes the other. The elevator reaches the ground floor. The facility is in chaos, alarms sounding, security personnel rushing to defensive positions, unaware that the threat is already inside. William and Ryan move cautiously through service corridors, avoiding main hallways. The diversion teams outside continue to draw attention, creating the chaos needed for their escape. They reach a side exit, a maintenance door rarely used, overlooked in the current crisis. Outside, darkness provides cover as they sprint across open ground toward the perimeter fence. A section of fence has been cut by the Lazarus team, their extraction route. They slip through, continuing into the forest beyond. Lieutenant Park awaits with a vehicle hidden among the trees. They board quickly, speeding away from the facility as distant explosions mark a new phase of the diversion operation. How far to the server location? approximately 40 minutes at present speed. The road gets rough in the mountains. The vehicle races through the night, headlights off, navigating by specialized night vision equipment. Behind them, the glow of the division facility recedes, but the danger is far from over. Ryan leans against his father, exhaustion finally claiming him now that immediate danger has passed. William keeps one arm around his son, the other hand checking the wooden key and the coordinates it contains. The journey into the mountains follows unmarked roads, eventually transitioning to rough forest tracks barely wide enough for the vehicle. Lieutenant Park navigates with practiced skill, pushing the rugged vehicle to its limits. They reach a point where even the forest track ends. Park consults the navigation system. Server location is approximately 2 kilometers further, up that ridge. No vehicle access. William gently wakes Ryan. "I need you to be brave a little longer, buddy. We have to walk the rest of the way." Ryan nods sleepily, but straightens with determination. Like a mission? Exactly like a mission. The most important one. Lieutenant Park provides them with essential gear: water, emergency supplies, a tactical flashlight, and communications equipment. "I'll maintain position here for extraction. Radio signal is spotty in these mountains, but I'll monitor emergency channel 7 continuously." William and Ryan begin the trek up the ridge, following coordinates that lead deeper into the wilderness. The forest is dense, the terrain challenging even for an experienced soldier. William helps Ryan over fallen logs and rocky outcroppings, impressed by his son's resilience. As they climb higher, the forest thins, revealing a breathtaking view of the mountains beyond, silvered by moonlight. Under different circumstances, it would be a perfect father-son camping adventure. "Are we almost there, Dad?" "Almost, buddy. See that rock formation ahead?" "That's where we're going." The coordinates lead to what appears to be a natural cave entrance, partially concealed by vegetation. But as they approach, William recognizes the telltale signs of human modification: subtle reinforcement of the natural structure, drainage channels cut into the rock, the faint hum of ventilation equipment. This is it, a Cold War relic, one of many secret installations built during the height of nuclear tension, later repurposed for classified projects like Orpheus. The entrance is secured by a heavy steel door with an electronic lock. William examines it carefully, then places the wooden key against the scanner concealed within the rock face. The door remains inactive. Ryan tugs at his father's sleeve. "Mom said the password is my birthday and the day you met." William enters the combination, Ryan's birth date followed by the day he first met Emily at a research conference. The lock disengages with a hydraulic hiss, the door sliding open to reveal a tunnel leading into the mountain. They enter cautiously. Emergency lighting activates automatically, illuminating a passage that slopes downward into the earth. The air is cool and dry, maintained by environmental systems that have functioned reliably for decades. The tunnel opens into a small but sophisticated server room, cutting-edge technology housed in a Cold War bunker. Banks of servers hum efficiently, monitoring systems display continuous data streams. This is no abandoned facility, but an actively maintained installation. William approaches the central terminal, where a specialized interface awaits. The wooden key fits perfectly into a custom reader. "This is it, buddy." The shutdown sequence Emily created. It will help all the people like Mr. Crane, the ones with 2 people inside them. Will it make the bad people inside them go away? William chooses his words carefully. It will help the real people remember who they are. Some of the fake memories might stay, but they won't be in control anymore. Ryan considers this with a child's direct wisdom. Like when you have a bad dream, but when you wake up, you know what's real? Exactly like that. William initiates the interface sequence. The system requests final genetic authentication, a handprint scanner activated by the wooden key. William places his palm on the scanner, then helps Ryan do the same. Father and son, genetic patterns recognized and verified. The system acknowledges them, displaying a complex shutdown protocol. Emily's work, elegant and precise. William reviews it carefully, recognizing elements of her unique approach to genetic programming. This is it. The shutdown sequence will deactivate the overlay personalities gradually, allowing the original consciousness to reassert without trauma. A controlled awakening rather than the chaotic process Victor had planned. William initiates the sequence. Progress indicators show the system connecting to the Orpheus network, establishing the command protocols, preparing for network-wide implementation. But as the sequence reaches 67% completion, an alert sounds. The display flashes an urgent warning. Remote override initiated. What's happening? Someone's trying to stop the shutdown. They're accessing the system remotely. The division director. He must have reached the control room. William works rapidly, countering the override attempts, but the remote user has significant access privileges. The shutdown sequence pauses at 78%, unable to progress further. A communication window opens on the display. A face appears, cold, authoritative, with the implacable confidence of absolute power. The division director, Lieutenant Colonel Harrison. Impressive work reaching the backup server, but I'm afraid your efforts are wasted. The Orpheus network is already activating. Your shutdown sequence is too late. William continues working, trying to bypass the director's override. You're lying. The countdown shows midnight activation. We still have 17 minutes. The displayed time was a contingency. The actual activation began the moment you entered the control room. Even now, sleepers across the country are awakening. Some violently, others with more subtlety. What have you done with Marcus? With Frank and General Westmore? Your friends fought admirably, particularly your former teammate. For a moment, he truly was Marcus Crane again. Quite remarkable, really. The overlay personality completely receded. We'll need to study that phenomenon further. William's hands clench with suppressed rage, but he maintains his focus on the shutdown sequence. Ryan watches anxiously at his side. The director continues, his tone almost conversational. You should know your shutdown sequence wouldn't have worked anyway. Dr. Parker was brilliant, but she didn't have all the information. The Orpheus network has evolved beyond her understanding. She understood enough to create a failsafe you never detected. The director's expression changes subtly, the first hint of uncertainty. What failsafe? William smiles grimly. You think this is the only server? The only shutdown protocol? Emily was smarter than that. This was just the decoy, the obvious target you would try to protect or compromise. The director's composure wavers momentarily. You're bluffing. Ryan suddenly speaks up, his young voice surprisingly steady. Mom said the key opens a door that needs to stay closed, but she also said it opens a door that no one can see. William looks at his son with new understanding. The wooden key itself, not just the coordinates it contained, but the actual physical object. Emily had hidden something inside it. He examines the key more closely, noticing how the wood grain doesn't quite match at the handle. With careful pressure, the handle separates, revealing a tiny microchip embedded within. The director's eyes widen with recognition. No. William inserts the chip into a secondary port on the terminal. Immediately, new protocols activate, bypassing the director's override, accelerating the shutdown sequence. Progress indicators jump to 85%, 90%, 95%. You've done nothing but delay the inevitable, Colonel. Even if you shut down the overlay personalities, the damage is already done. Critical sleepers have been activated. Key positions compromised. The cascade has begun. The shutdown sequence reaches 100%, initiating network-wide implementation. Confirmation messages flood the display. Connection established with all Orpheus nodes. Shutdown commands acknowledged. Execution commencing. The director's image freezes, then dissolves into static as the communication link fails. The entire system reconfigures under Emily's true shutdown protocol, not just deactivating overlay personalities, but systematically dismantling the entire Orpheus infrastructure. Ryan watches the displays with wide-eyed fascination. Did we win? William pulls his son close, overwhelmed with relief and pride. We did, buddy. Your mama had made sure of it, and she was always 3 steps ahead of everyone else. As the shutdown protocol completes, a final message appears on the display, not part of the system output, but a personal note encoded to appear only upon successful implementation. William and Ryan, if you're seeing this, you've activated the true shutdown sequence. The Orpheus network is being systematically disabled. Overlay personalities will gradually recede, allowing original consciousness to return without trauma. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you everything. I love you both more than you'll ever know. Take care of each other. Emily, William stares at the message, a complex mixture of grief, love, and vindication washing over him. Emily had planned for everything, sacrificed everything to protect their son and stop Orpheus. Ryan reads the message, his young face solemn. Mom knew we'd find it together. Yes, she did. She trusted us. They remain in the server room as the systems complete their final sequences, lights dimming as power redirects to essential functions. The Orpheus network, decades in development, responsible for hundreds of modified lives, dismantled in minutes by Emily's elegant solution. Lieutenant Park's voice crackles over the radio, breaking the silence. Colonel Harrison, do you copy? We have a situation developing at the division facility. Multiple reports of personnel collapsing, experiencing seizures, facility security collapsing. Extraction teams moving in now, copy that. The shutdown sequence is complete. Effects on sleepers appearing as expected. Stand by for our return. William and Ryan emerge from the bunker into the cool night air. The mountains stand silent witness to what they've accomplished. A father and son, guided by a mother's final gift, undoing a conspiracy decades in the making. Ryan looks up at the stars, then at his father. What happens now? Now we go home, buddy. But where is home? William considers this question with the weight it deserves. Home isn't a place. It's wherever we're together. We'll figure out the rest. As they begin the journey back down the mountain, William's radio crackles again. Colonel Harrison, priority message. We've extracted survivors from the control room. General Westmore is secure. Frank Coleman is injured but stable. And Marcus Crane? Unknown, sir. We found no trace of him. But there are reports of a solitary figure leaving the facility during the confusion. Description matches Crane. William absorbs this information with mixed emotions. If Marcus survived, if the shutdown protocol allowed him to truly reclaim his identity, what would he do with that freedom? Where would a man officially dead for 3 years go to rebuild his life? Questions for another day. For now, William has his son safe beside him and a promise to keep, to build a life where Ryan is protected, loved, and never again a pawn in someone else's game. The eastern sky lightens almost imperceptibly. The first hint of dawn still hours away, but coming nonetheless. A new day approaching for a world that would never know how close it came to silent conquest. Ryan yawns, fatigue finally overcoming adrenaline. William lifts his son onto his shoulders, carrying him down the mountain path. Dad? Yes, buddy? Can we have pancakes when we get home? I like when you make them. William smiles, his heart full despite everything they've endured. Operation Pancake coming right up. As soon as we get home. Ryan rests his head against his father's, arms draped loosely around his neck. The wooden key, its secret now revealed, remains clutched in his small hand. No longer a tool of conspiracy, but a family heirloom, a mother's last gift, a reminder of what they fought for and won. Together, father and son descend the mountain, leaving behind secrets buried in stone and server banks, heading toward whatever future they will build together. A future where the only voice in their heads is their own. 3 months later, Arlington National Cemetery stretches in orderly rows of white markers, a solemn geometry of sacrifice beneath a clear autumn sky. William and Ryan stand before a fresh grave, flowers in hand. Emily's marker is simple, dignified. Her name, dates, in a single line. She opened doors no one else could see. Ryan places his bouquet carefully, arranging it with deliberate precision. Do you think Mom can see us? William places a comforting hand on his son's shoulder. I believe she can, buddy. They stand in silence for a moment, paying respects to the woman who gave everything to protect her family and country. The full story of Emily's role in stopping Orpheus remains classified, her heroism acknowledged only by a handful of officials in closed-door meetings. To the world, she was simply a geneticist who died tragically. To William and Ryan, she was so much more. The aftermath of the Orpheus shutdown continues to reverberate through government and military circles. Hundreds of individuals affected by the overlay process are receiving specialized treatment under General Westmore's supervision. Operation Lazarus, once a rogue contingency plan, is now an officially sanctioned recovery program. The division itself has been dismantled, its leadership facing closed military tribunals. The director disappeared the night of the shutdown, his current whereabouts unknown. The search continues, but without urgency. A man with his knowledge of covert operations could disappear forever if he chose. Frank Coleman has recovered from his injuries and returned to his auto shop, though he now employs several former intelligence operatives who needed a fresh start. The shop has become something of an unofficial halfway house for retired spies and soldiers, a place where old war stories can be shared without fear of security breaches. As William and Ryan turn to leave the cemetery, a solitary figure catches William's attention, a man in a dark coat watching from a respectful distance near the tree line. Though too far away to identify with certainty, there's something familiar in his posture, the way he holds himself. William doesn't approach or acknowledge the observer. If it is Marcus, he deserves the space to find his own way forward, to reconcile the fragments of memory and identity left in Orpheus's wake. Perhaps someday he'll be ready to reconnect. Until then, William respects his choice to remain in the shadows. Ryan tugs at his father's hand. "Can we go home now? I have homework." William smiles, turning away from the distant figure. "You bet. And maybe pizza tonight. With extra cheese? Is there any other way?" They walk together through the serene grounds, leaving Emily's grave behind, but carrying her memory with them. Life continues. School for Ryan, a new security consulting position for William that allows him regular hours and weekends with his son. A normal life, or as normal as possible after what they've experienced. The wooden key, now empty of secrets but full of meaning, sits in a place of honor on their mantelpiece. A reminder of doors closed and opened, of a mother's love, a father's determination, and a child's courage. As they reach their car, Ryan looks back one last time at Emily's grave, then up at his father. "We'll be okay, right, Dad?" William helps his son into the car, then meets his gaze with absolute certainty. "We'll be more than okay, buddy. We'll be home." 1 year later, the Lincoln Memorial gleams in the golden light of early morning, its marble columns casting long shadows across the reflecting pool. A small crowd has gathered for a private ceremony. Government officials in formal attire, military officers in dress uniforms, and a handful of civilians standing slightly apart. William Harrison, now wearing the insignia of a full colonel, stands at attention as General Westmore addresses the assembly. Beside William, Ryan stands straight and tall in a crisp suit, looking older than his 10 years. Today we honor those who serve in silence, those whose sacrifices can never be publicly acknowledged, whose victories are celebrated only in closed rooms, behind classified doors. The men and women who guard our nation's secrets also bear the weight of those secrets, sometimes at terrible personal cost. General Westmore gestures toward a small, simple monument newly installed near the side of the memorial. No names are inscribed upon it, only a single line: "For those who preserved liberty in shadows." Among them was Dr. Emily Parker Harrison, a brilliant scientist whose moral courage and foresight saved countless lives. Her actions prevented a catastrophe that most Americans will never know threatened them. She gave everything, her reputation, her relationships, and ultimately her life, to protect not only her family, but her country. William's expression remains composed, but his hand tightens slightly on Ryan's shoulder. The boy looks up at his father, then back at the monument, pride and grief mingling in his young face. The full details of Operation Orpheus and its aftermath remain highly classified. The public will never know how close we came to a silent coup, or how a wooden key and a father's determination prevented it. But those of us who serve understand the true measure of such sacrifice. We also acknowledge the failures of our institutions. Orpheus began with noble intentions, to create more effective intelligence assets in a dangerous world. But as too often happens, those noble intentions were corrupted by ambition, by fear, and by the dangerous belief that the ends justify any means. The division that operated in darkness has been dismantled, its leadership held accountable where possible. But our greater responsibility is to the victims of Orpheus, the men and women whose identities were stolen, whose minds were violated in the name of national security. Through Operation Lazarus, we have now successfully treated over 300 affected individuals. Former sleepers are reclaiming their lives, reconciling fractured memories, rebuilding what was taken from them. The road is long for many, but for the first time, it is their own road to travel. Frank Coleman shifts his weight, his cane necessary now after injuries that never quite healed. Beside him stands Dr. Winters, who has become the leading medical authority on treating cognitive overlay syndrome. They exchange a glance, the quiet satisfaction of professionals who have done difficult work well. Our gathering today is small by necessity. The heroes we honor operated beyond the spotlight, and so too must their recognition remain. But let it be known among those who serve that courage comes in many forms, sometimes in battle, sometimes in quiet resistance to wrong paths taken in the name of right causes. The ceremony concludes with a moment of silence. As the officials disperse, William leads Ryan to the edge of the reflecting pool. The Washington Monument stands mirrored in the still water, a reminder of enduring principles that survive even the darkest chapters. You doing okay, buddy? Yeah, I just wish more people knew what Mom did. The people who matter know. Sometimes that has to be enough. Ryan considers this, wisdom beyond his years in his thoughtful expression. Is that why we serve? Even when no one knows? That's exactly why. Duty isn't about recognition. It's about doing what's right, especially when it's hard. They walk together along the reflecting pool, passing other visitors coming to see the monuments. Normal American families enjoying a spring morning, unaware of how close their world came to invisible conquest. Will I be able to help other kids like me someday? The ones who can see things others can't? When you're older, maybe. General Westmore's program has identified 16 other children with similar genetic markers, all being protected now, not exploited. Ryan nods, satisfied with this answer. His unique abilities remain a closely guarded secret, but no longer a burden. Under William's protection and Westmore's influence, Ryan receives guidance without becoming a government asset. As they near the end of the mall, a familiar figure approaches. Marcus Crane. No longer Victor, no longer the conflicted hybrid of two personalities, but a man rebuilding himself piece by piece. He walks with purpose now, though shadows still linger behind his eyes. The boy's genetic markers helped stabilize my transition. His blood was the template for the treatment protocol. 300 lives reclaimed because of him. Because of both of you. He's just a kid, Marcus. He deserves a childhood. And he'll have one. I'm making sure of that. My position at Lazarus gives me some influence now. Marcus has found his place within Westmore's organization, using his unique perspective to help other sleepers recover. His official status remains deceased, allowing him to work from the shadows, rebuilding a life that is neither wholly Marcus nor Victor, but something new. The division director was spotted in Buenos Aires last week, still trying to piece together what remains of the network. Let him run. The infrastructure is gone, the research destroyed. Even if he recruited new scientists, the genetic keys were unique to Emily's work. What about the others? The ones who didn't recover? 47 cases of complete psychological break, 18 suicides. The rest in secure treatment facilities. Not everyone could withstand the awakening, even with the stabilization protocols. The human cost of Orpheus will never be fully calculated. Lives destroyed, families fractured, trust violated. A reminder that even in defense of liberty, there are lines that cannot be crossed without becoming the very thing being fought against. Ryan, who has been quiet during this exchange, suddenly speaks up. Mr. Crane, are you really you now, or still someone else? Marcus kneels to the boy's level, respecting the directness of the question. A little of both, Ryan. The overlay personality wasn't completely false. Parts of it were built from who I really am. And the experiences I had as Victor were real, even if the context was manufactured. I'm learning to integrate both, to become someone whole. Ryan studies him with that peculiar intensity that unnerves most adults. But Marcus meets his gaze steadily. You don't have two faces anymore. Just one with shadows. Marcus smiles slightly, the first genuine smile William has seen from his friend since before his death. That's probably the best description I've heard yet. As they part ways, Marcus heading toward the Pentagon, William and Ryan continue toward the National Archives. The Constitution and Declaration of Independence wait within. Reminders of principles that survive imperfect guardians. Do you think it's really over, Dad? Orpheus and everything? William considers his answer carefully. The program is dismantled, the technology destroyed. But the temptation to control, to manipulate rather than protect, that never ends. There will always be people who believe the ends justify any means. So we have to stay vigilant? We do. All of us. That's the price of freedom. They pause at the steps of the archives where school children gather for tours, where ordinary citizens come to see the foundations of their liberty. A liberty preserved sometimes in daylight, sometimes in darkness, but always requiring both courage and conscience to maintain. The wooden key remains on their mantelpiece, emptied of secrets but filled with meaning. A reminder that the smallest objects can sometimes unlock the largest truths, that a father's simple gift and a mother's brilliant mind together saved a nation from conquest from within, and that sometimes the most important doors we open are the ones that lead us home. The end.